phenomenal story that she's going to share with us. And the reason I said earlier she's Mrs. Tajima is just my little joke with her. It's like, no, not really. But it's because she interprets what Mr. Tajima says so well. It's as if he leaves his body and goes over to her and she speaks the words. She is fully present with the way he shares the information, and so that's why I say that. So she's not really married to him, don't get confused. She is just a wonderful, phenomenal interpreter that really makes it easy for us and Mr. Tajima to get the essence and the full flavor of what he's going to share with us today. So Maya, take it away.
Thank you very much. Let's give a big round of applause to Miss Lynn. She is Lauren. Do you have anybody else? So April Willoughby from LA. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the introduction. So as Miss Lynn said, my name is Maya Perry, and I'd like to keep my introduction short, my story short today, because we have our CEO waiting over there. So just to keep it really short, I was and am a professional interpreter. It's been my career going on 32 years. I started when I was 5. So,
I was going to say 5.
So anyway, I was born and raised in Japan. It was made in Japan, just like the USA products. And started my interpreting career over there, worked in Tokyo for about 10 years, and I moved to the US, moved to Hawaii specifically, and I was interpreting there. Interpreting mostly for executives at that point in my career, because it was like going on 26, 27 years. About 5 years ago, we got a phone call from a Japanese company that wanted to launch here in the United States. And their name was Naturally Plus, and I'd never heard of them before. However, I'd worked a lot with, everybody. As a professional interpreter, I worked with everyone, just regular corporations, government, you name it, conferences, I did them. And I also worked with networking companies, which is what Naturally Plus was. When they first told me they were a networking company, at first I was like, oh no, another one. And the reason why I felt that way was because I'd interpreted for all of the big ones. Everybody used to come to Hawaii, right? All the networking companies have conventions, trips, incentive trips to Hawaii. So they would hire people like me to be in those conferences. And I would interpret for the conference, but I would also interpret for those meetings that are closed door that members don't get to hear, because they need us in those situations as well. So let's just say, I signed non-disclosure, so I can't tell you what I heard, but what I can tell you is that I was never very impressed with the industry. I was not impressed because I felt like this industry, there are a lot of people who are more in debt than successful, and I didn't think that was very cool. So 5 years ago, I get a phone call from Naturally Plus, and I'm a professional, right? So I thought, well, I'm gonna keep all of my personal feelings aside, and I'll just go and interpret, because that's my job. So I was doing that, and I met Mr. Tajima, the CEO, that you'll be meeting in a minute. I met him, and I basically, interpreted for him right off the bat that first day. And he was talking about the company, Naturally Plus, and he talked about the different aspects about the company, the products. He also talked about the compensation plan and how they were different from other companies. And at first I was thinking, yeah, right. Because they all say they're different, right? They all say we're special, we're different. So I was thinking, oh yeah, another one of those. But it was true. It took me 4 months to realize this, 4 months for it to sink in. But I realized that this company is really different. One of the things that's really different about Naturally Plus from any other networking company is that this company has no sales quotas, none. So that means you can remain a consumer or you can remain to do the business. That's entirely up to you. And also, if you decide to do this as a business, you can do it as quickly or as slowly as you wish. It's up to you. Nobody's going to be breathing down your neck because there's no deadlines. No monthly or annual deadlines for sales, period. Okay? The whole premise for Naturally Plus is that everyone purchases what they need for themselves. If you have friends who want to try it, they're welcome to become members too, but they just buy what they need too. They've revolutionized this whole industry by changing those rules. Because in all the other companies that I worked with, they had something called front loading, which was the practice, it's the whole industry practice, where as soon as you become a member, they want you to buy $5,000, $10,000 worth of product, right? Product bundles. Companies like to do that because if you buy all that, then that means they get to make their money up front. And if you can't go and sell that product to members, oh well, too bad for you. Company doesn't care. They made their money well with me. And so when this company said that, oh, we don't do that, we got rid of that. We don't have sales quotas. We do not allow front loading. We do not allow bulk purchases. We do not have inventorying, warehousing, any of that stuff. And I was like, right. Like I said, it took me 4 months to be convinced. I was interpreting for Mr. Tajima once a month for the first year, and then someone else, a millionaire leader, would come from Japan and also speak, and I would interpret for them. So basically every 2 weeks I was getting a dose of Naturally Plus. And I was hearing the rules. I have to read all of their rules because I'm an interpreter. And I realized after 4 months, finally, I thought, wow, this company really is different. They did it. They did it. They revolutionized the industry, they changed the rules, and they made it better. And I was very proud because I'm half Japanese. So I was very proud of that it was a Japanese company that did that. Right? And the other thing is that was a very big deal for me, was because of that, I asked if I could try the products. And that was a big deal for me because until that point, 27 years, I never, ever, ever purchased products from customers that I worked with or became members. Because I had to keep the professional distance, right? Because if I buy from over here, I have to buy from over there, it gets very complicated. Because I had hundreds of clients. So, didn't purchase from anybody. But it was the first time in my whole career that I asked if I could purchase a product because they said it was good for the eyes. And I was just at that age, I was 48 years old at the time, I started to need reading glasses. I was squinting like this all the time. So I thought, I don't like medication, don't like doctors, no offense to doctors if they're right here. But you know what I mean. So, but this was vitamins, supplements. So I thought, okay, yeah, I take multivitamins. I'll take another one, sure. So that's how I decided to try the product. Tried it for a month, really liked it. And after that, I asked if I could become a member. And once again, I broke my own golden rule. Never became a member of any other customer since. First and only time. And then a year and a half ago, the CEO asked me if I would be willing to work for him full time here in Las Vegas. So, and I always make a joke about this, but it's really true. I was living in paradise, right, ladies and gentlemen? And I gave up paradise to move to the desert to be part of Naturally Plus. Because the headquarters are right here in Summerlin, actually. So, and I've never looked back. It's been a great experience. The company's great, and the products are great, and most of all, we have a fabulous CEO. He's a really, really nice guy. He's exactly how you see him. I got lost coming here today from Summerlin, because I don't drive around much. I'm always in the office or on the road. I got lost 3 times. And my boss said, no problem. And he got out his navigation equipment and he navigated for me so that we could get here. He's that kind of guy. He'll help me schlep my suitcase. He'll just do whatever it takes. He's just a great guy. And also he knows the most about this company. So without further ado, I'd like to have him speak about Naturally Plus so you can hear it directly from our